There's people that watch for entertainment and there's people that watch stuff to dominate. I want you to be one of those people that dominates. If you watch this video and you don't apply any of this, you did nothing. But if you apply this, it could change your life. So I'm gonna teach you guys 7 things that made me $1 million. My name's Brendan Whiting, and I've been a sales coach with Andy Elliott for the past 3 years now. I've made multiple 7 figures throughout my sales career. Now I'm Andy's top producer. In 2024, I was his top salesman. I wish that when I was 18 years old, I would have had the knowledge that I'm about to give you in this video. The first skill, or the first tip that I have for you today is this. The only thing I like better than today's money is tomorrow's money, okay? AKA, play the long game. And I wanna explain to you guys a set of beliefs I have around business and finances that have served me well so far. In today's marketplace, everybody looks rich. Everybody's driving a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, a McLaren. You know, everybody's balling out of control. But what you guys don't see is that a lot of these guys on the internet are super broke. A lot of these guys owe money on their taxes. They owe the IRS a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're selling you their course so they can pay off their taxes, right? A lot of these guys don't have retirement accounts funded. They have debt on those cars that they're driving, like they got a couple $1,000 payments. And look, I respect anybody who's successful, but I play the long game, and I'll tell you why. Because one, most salespeople, especially when they outlive their earnings, they have commission breath all the time. And they have to constantly be focused on today, the sale. It turns people off when you're transactional, okay? Like, I remember the times where I was a transactional salesperson. I owed money on my taxes that I didn't have. I drove cars I couldn't afford. You know, I outlived my lifestyle, and I spent money in stupid ways to impress people who didn't even care, right? I hated being that transactional person. And today, you know, last year, 2024, I was Andy's top salesman on the sales team. And the thing is, everybody on the team, if you ask them, they're like, does this guy even sell? Because like I tell people all the time, I feel like I haven't sold anything in 2 or 3 years because I quit being transactional and I just started helping people. And I'm not saying don't be aggressive in sales, but what I'm saying is when you don't have like the IRS beating down your door and financial pressure every single day that you wake up, debt up to your eyeballs, you sell differently. Like, you show up on meetings differently. You're not trying to push people for an ulterior motive. You're like, hey dude, look, this is gonna help you. This is the solution to your problem. And they can feel that, right? The second thing is, like, just financially, I wanna have the bandwidth to make power moves instead of force moves all the time, right? So I like to describe it like this, right? If I wanna make sales calls, that's a low leverage activity, right? Now, I can call, dial, make money. I can stay on the phone all day, and that's cool. I get paid immediately on that action. But if I were to go, you know, hire someone as a setter and bring them onto my team so that they can save me 10, 20, 30 hours a week of setting up appointments, and now that buys me back 10, 20 hours on the phones, and then I can now make more money because I'm spending more time selling. That's an activity that finding that setter and having to onboard that person, stuff like that, that's gonna temporarily lower my income. Like, it's gonna temporarily cost me money in the short term, but in the long term, it's gonna make me a lot of money. If you're up to your eyeballs in debt and you're not making you're not making enough to keep up with your lifestyle, you can never afford to do these things and set things up the right way, right? So that's why I like to play the long game. And my main advice to you would be, you know, whatever age you are, but especially if you're young, keep your lifestyle as low as possible. Obviously, you know, don't wear freaking trash bags to work and stuff like that. Buy some nice stuff, buy some nice clothes, but just monitor your spending. Don't outlive your lifestyle, right? That's point number 1. Let's go ahead and jump into point number 2. So number 2, start posting content even if you suck, because no one's gonna see it and you need time to get better, okay? So today, and this is to date, I've made over $1 million into my bank account off of social media. 10,000 or so followers is how many I have on Instagram. That's where I get the majority of my clients from. That's more than enough people to make $1 million, 10,000 people, right? I don't think people really understand like how big 1,000 people is in a room. I'm sitting in a conference room right now, Andy Elliott's Master Closer Seminar conference room. It seats 500 people. And if they were all in here as I was talking, this is a big freaking audience. One thing about me is like I always executed before I ever even had a plan. Like Andy calls it building the airplane while it's on the way up to the sky, right? Now, there are certain points in your life where you want to be a little bit more strategic instead of just jumping right in, but content is something you should go ahead and jump right into, because the reality is A lot of you guys are waiting until you have it all figured out to start filming. And once you have your golden idea, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get behind that camera and you're gonna realize you suck. You suck at communicating, you suck on video, and that's gonna take time to develop, okay? So one of the things I'm super grateful for that I did when I first started at the LA Group 3 years ago is immediately start paying someone to help me film and edit videos so that I could grow my personal brand, right? And I haven't done everything perfect. I feel like I've made every mistake you could possibly make creating social media content, but I do know I am a hell of a lot better of a speaker and 100 times more confident than I was the first day I sat behind this motherfucking camera, okay? Whether you know where you're gonna take your brand yet or not, like while you're still trying to figure it out, publish YouTube videos, publish a podcast, make some short form content, build a brand. And then also, like, people have so many limiting beliefs around this. They're like, well, people are gonna judge me and like I lose my personality behind the camera. No one's gonna see your first couple pieces of content, your first couple hundred, probably couple thousand pieces of content anyway. I'll give you this one last point before we jump into number 3. I always say the best way to learn is to teach, and the best way to teach is to learn. If you want to truly learn something, teach it to other people. Every time you teach something to someone, you learn it on a deeper level. And what good is learning something if you can't communicate it to help other people, right? And then on the other hand, the best way to teach is to learn. So like, you constantly standing behind a camera and constantly trying to improve how you show up behind a camera and on video, it's gonna cause you to be like, what am I gonna talk about? Let me feed my brain so that way I'm good on video and I have original ideas. So let's jump into point number 3. Tip number 3 I have for you is the most important skill that you can have inside of business is being able to cast a vision, okay? This is something that's super important, okay? So I wanna explain it to you like this, right? If you wanted to throw a party, you want to bring a lot of people over to your house, right? What do you have to do in order to get people to show up to the party? You got to gather people together. You got to bring them together. You got to say, hey, what if I had a house party this Saturday while my parents are out of town? And what if we had drinks and music playing and we cleared out my garage? You know, if you suck at that skill, no one's showing up to that party. If you're great at that, you're going to throw a banger. That's what we used to call them back in the day. You have to be able to cast a vision, and this skill will become important to you at tons of different points in your life, right? When you have an idea as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a salesperson, you want to take it to somebody, like, you know, maybe you want a promotion. Maybe you're trying to get hired for a job. Maybe you have an idea that would take your company to the next level. When you approach people that are going to be part of that decision, you have to be able to come to the table and you have to be able to share your ideas and cast the vision for other people. You're gonna see this play out in your life. Like when you go to start a business, when you go for new goals, when you're selling to customers, right? You have to sell them on casting the vision. Like, hey, here's what life's gonna look like on the other side of this decision, okay? So just remember, you have to get good at this skill. Like next time you're in a situation where you're trying to sell somebody, get a promotion, bring people together for a meeting, you know, rally up your team, launch a new company, you got to be able to cast that vision. If you can cast a vision, then you are the most dangerous person in business, okay? Let's get on to number 4. You always want to become the best at one thing. Like if there's anything I could tell you that I've learned on my journey so far, it's that you got to get as specialized as possible. There's high income skills, sales, marketing, copywriting, leadership, speaking, all these different skills, right? I'll take you back 5 years ago. I was an alcoholic, using drugs, hanging out with the wrong people, you know, breaking the law, getting arrested, stuff like that. Just an absolute idiot, on zero, completely broke, right? And in the past 5 years, I've scaled to becoming like a 7-figure earner in sales. I realized that when I was 20 years old, when I got into car sales, that I had no skills, right? I didn't have one skill that I could be like, oh, I'm really good at that, right? You know, the riches are in the niches. I was like, okay, I'm starting car sales. Let me learn sales. And then, you know, sales became my thing. And for the past, 4 or 5 years, as I've become more and more specialized in sales, my income has drastically increased. Most people, they bounce from thing to thing their entire life. They get kind of good at something and then they're like on to the next thing. And then they kind of want to get good at that and then they want to move on to the next thing. And the people that make the most money, they find one skill, one audience, one problem that they solve, and then they spend their entire life figuring out how to solve that problem. And the longer you can stay in the same lane, the more success you're gonna have and the more well-known you're gonna be. And it's two-pronged, right? One, you're gonna serve everybody better. Like you're just naturally gonna get way better, way faster than everybody else if you just focus. The more focused you are on one specific skill and one specific problem that you solve, but also, you know, your brand is so delicate. Every time you point them in a direction, you dilute down your audience. So like, if I build an audience of 10,000 people, but then I'm like week one, I'm like, hey, go this way. Like, you know, if you want to work with me and, you know, me help you with your marketing, go this way. If you want me to help you with your sales, go this way. If you want to partner with my buddy who's, you know, works out in the gym, go this way. It's like every time you add in new things to the plate, it like makes people like forget about the one thing that you want to serve them with the most. My main thing that I'm realizing is like everybody that's getting super wealthy is getting great, and the greater you get, the better you get paid, period. So pick one thing, whatever it is, don't get distracted, and attack it full out. Now let's jump into point number 5. Poor people spend time to save money, and rich people spend money to save time, okay? One thing I've learned that's super huge, one of the biggest moves I made in the past 12 months, it's absolutely skyrocketed my income, was hiring people to help me do jobs that I needed help with, right? A lot of people, I talk to so many business owners and salespeople that they're like, hey, I'm working 60 hours a week at the dealership and I want to sell more. And I'm like, okay, what does your week look like? You know, the first thing you should do if you want to grow, and especially if you're one of those people that say, I'm busy, you know, busy equals broke, productive equals paid. The first thing you need to do is go through the past week of your life and list out what you did every hour for that entire week. And what you'll find is you're spending a lot of your precious time doing things that you could easily hire someone else to do for you to buy back your time. And then you need to put all your efforts into the highest leverage activities and the things that only you're capable of doing. A lot of people, like, they're doing their own laundry, they're doing their own dishes, they're making their own food, they're cooking their own food, they're freaking entering data, doing data entry, filming their own content, creating their own content. Like, all those activities could take a person 10 to 20 hours a week when they could just hire someone to do it for a couple $1,000 and then get all that time back to put towards selling. I read a book, it's really good. Everybody watching this should pick it up. It's called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And Dan Martell said, take your annual income, divide it by 2,000. You get a number. That's your hourly rate. That's what you make per hour on your job. You take that number, you divide that by 4, that's gonna give you your buyback rate. Anything that you can hire someone to do for less than that buyback rate, right? A quarter of whatever your hour's worth, you should hire somebody out to do. You should not be spending your most valuable asset, which is your time, on that activity. And doing this and just, you know, simply looking at my weeks where I'm spending my time, hiring people to do things I shouldn't be spending my time to do, has drastically increased my income. And I'm confident it can help you out too, whether you're a business owner, salesperson, whatever you do, you can easily buy back your time, and you need to be spend time on only the most high leverage activities. Now, we're almost done. Let's jump into point number 6. This one is a personal favorite of mine, and this is what we call leverage. The richest people have the most leverage. And I actually want to teach you something I learned from a guy named Naval Ravikant. Naval Ravikant invented what we call the 4 C's of leverage. The 4 C's of leverage are code, content, collaboration, and capital. The wealthiest people in the world are deploying leverage in these 4 C's. So number 1, when you look at capital, how you could take capital as leverage, you know, let me give you an example. So about a year ago, what I decided to do was start investing in real estate. So I took $40,000, wired it out, bought a rental property that now produces me about $500 a month cash flow into my pocket, okay? And the property I bought got some good equity on it, you know, 20K, and now it's getting close to 50, 60K in equity that I have on it, just based on what I bought it for, you know, a year ago. And all of that's capital that works for me while I sleep. So once you start to make more money, right? And first step, you got to make more money. I talk to guys every day that are like, hey, I'm making $5,000 a month on the car lot and I want to learn how to invest in real estate. And I'm like, bro, you don't need to worry about anything right now except for investing in the S&P 500, investing in yourself to grow your income. In order to have capital to leverage it, you got to have a decent amount of capital. You can't, the best way to leverage a couple $1,000 is not in real estate, it's in yourself and your skill set to raise your income, okay? But that's a whole nother story. When it comes to capital, when you can take money, put it into assets that are gonna pay you back, that's leveraging capital. That's stuff that Now your money's working for you, you're not working for your money, okay? Now, second one is code, automations, AI. Okay, so like when I need a project done, when I need to do data or research on the internet, like back in the day, our parents used to do Google searches, and now we have ChatGPT to filter information. If I want to learn what chapter in a book someone said something, I can literally look it up at the tip of my fingers. If I want to pull 30 ideas for content, or I want a transcript, or I want a contract created, like a template or something, I can get all this with AI versus creating it all myself. On the other hand, automation. If I create automated text messages and emails when somebody opts into my funnel, someone reaches out to me, or I have automation set up where people book on my calendar, that's saving me time versus me having to go in and do it all by myself. So that's code, right? There's many other code. I could take you down the rabbit hole. But for purposes of this being a short training YouTube video, study these 4 C's of leverage. Now, number 3 is content, okay? I'm making content right now, and you know what's cool about this video? I'm gonna make a long form piece with this, if you're watching this on YouTube, and it's gonna get some views. And each person that sees it could potentially be a customer, and it's definitely somebody that I'm gonna be giving value to, okay? If I didn't record this, if this all stayed inside my brain, I would never have this piece of content out there working for me, producing leads while I'm sleeping. Also, I'm gonna take the video, chop it up, make short form, post that on Instagram. That's gonna generate 1 million views a month, and therefore bringing me in leads, customers, etc. Okay? Now, there's multiple ways to use content as well, right? Like I could use content to grow my brand and generate traffic for my business, but also whenever I create content, once I have that content, I never have to teach someone again. Like once I make this video, if someone asks me, Brennan, what are your 7 best tips to, you wish you would have learned sooner that made you $1 million? I'm not gonna sit in front of them for an hour of my time and repeat exactly what I'm telling you right now. I'm gonna send them this link to this video and say, go watch that video, because it's everything I'm gonna tell you to your face right now. So that gives me leverage, because now I no longer have to spend my time once I've recorded it once. Once it's content, I don't have to do it myself. Now it's duplicated. Last one's collaboration. Okay, this means team, this means hiring, bringing on team members, videographer, appointment setter, executive assistant. These are 3 positions that I currently employ into my business that have allowed me to create more leverage so that all my time spent on the highest leverage activities. We're jumping into the last one, guys. This is point number 7. If you put money over relationships, soon you'll have neither. If you put relationships over money, you'll have more money than you know what to do with. One thing I did not understand when I first started in sales was the value of relationships. Okay, again, I was transactional. And I think it's fair to say, beyond fair, that 90% of you watching this video are very transactional. Okay, and here's how you can tell, here's how you can test yourself. How many referrals have you sent to your network in the past 30 days? Have you helped anybody out? Your previous customers from the past 90 days that have bought things from you, right? Product, services. If you called them right now and asked them to spend more money with you, would they say yes, or would they get weird? If they would say no, then that means that you are negative in the relationship bank account. See, I look at relationships like a bank account, right? Let's say we meet, you and I meet one-to-one, and before we meet our relationship bank account, if you've never seen my content or gotten value from me through my content, and we've never met before, you never heard anything about me, we're at 0, right? When I give you value, I deposit money into that relationship bank account, okay? When I ask for things, I take money away from that relationship bank account. So I always say this too, dig your well before you get thirsty, because a lot of people, they go into a relationship immediately just start asking. They start going negative in that relationship bank account, as opposed to give first, depositing, making some deposits into the relationship, and then making a little ask. Depositing more, little ask. Most of you guys are like, you got 0 in your relationship bank account with your clients, and you're still trying to pull money out of them. You're still trying to pull $1,000 and you got 0 in there, right? You need to learn how to nurture relationships. So for me, this has been, I would say, the one that's had the most direct impact on my income, especially if you're inside a business that has repeat business, referrals, anything like that. At the end of the day, man, if you don't take care of people, then long-term, you're screwed, okay? Like there's what people call a CAC for companies, okay? It's cost to acquire a customer. Just so you know, McDonald's knows exactly how much it costs, how much money they have to spend to get you to drive through their drive-through and buy a cheeseburger. They know to the penny what it is. I believe it's like $7 is what they pay per person that drives through the drive-through. Similarly, in your business, no matter what industry you're in, you have a cost to acquire a customer. Your company pays a certain amount to get customers to buy their stuff. What's so cool about taking care of people is one, you get repeats, and two, you get referrals. When you get referrals, what's so cool about them is there's no cost to acquire those. So let's say you're a coach and you take on 10 customers and you spent $5,000, or let's say for simple math, let's say you spent $1,000 to get 10 customers to buy your stuff. 1,000 divided by 10 is $100 per customer. But let's say 5 out of those 10 customers bring you 2 more customers apiece, therefore bringing you 10 customers. Now you've got 10 for free, you paid $0 for, and now you pay $50 per customer total because your product's good, so people are telling other people about it. Make sense? Literally every single Sunday, I've been doing this for 2 years, I go through my notes and I write down every key relationship I have with people that I want to maintain in my network, right? These are people that I believe benefit from doing business with me, that I respect, and that I want to know, like, and trust me. And I don't cold call these people every Sunday and try to sell them shit. What I do is I have them on my list and I reach out and try to get creative in the ways I can bring them value, to let them know that I care about them, right? I've been doing this for 2 years, and one by one, every single person on that list is, signing up to do business with me, partnering up with me, or throwing me referrals and things like that, because I'm being intentional. When you approach life this way, you are so different from the competition, it's not even funny. So we've just covered the 7 tips that have allowed me to make $1 million. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, like the video, comment. We're gonna be dropping more YouTube videos all the time to start to give more value. So massive love, drop them below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your biggest takeaway is, and we'll see you guys soon. Let's kick some ass. Let's go.